Greetings. It's really a joy and a pleasure to be reaching out to you on this magical day, this bright, sun, shiny day. And I know we're going to have a very uplifting conversation, because this conversation would be more about who you are and the power that you possess as a magician. You see, you can either be a magician asleep, a magician who is awake. Also, you can be a dark magician, or you can be a magician of light. Now, I want to let you know that the dark magicians have been running this world for a very, 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 very long time. And they know that their time will come when they all will be exposed. But what they do, they flip the script. They always do that. And they always use parody. That is why you have to always use reverse psychology. So one thing I'm going to do today, I'm going to go into the Moses story and I'm going to open it for you. And it will blow your mind. I know that you're going to say, I've never seen it this way before, and it really make a lot of sense to me, and so on. And now I could definitely use my magic rod. You see, you're walking around with a magic stick or a magic rod, and you don't know it. But I'm going to show you it today. Okay? And when it comes to the dark magicians that the church don't really want you to know about, you have to realize that these dark magicians, they always come to you as wolves in sheep clothing. So they are disguised and they are well organized. So you're walking a very, very thin line when it comes to exposing these dark magicians that set up these systems. One thing I really want to make clear to you is that we are all using this same one power. So the dark magician is using the same power that the magician of light is using. So I'm not using any different power than what the dark magicians are using. Also, another thing I want to make clear to you is that they would have tricked the masses to make them believe that miracles is different to magic. Like, for example, on my other channel, a person reached out to me and making a comment, and that person is definitely a religious person who's been brainwashed. And it's telling me that magic and miracles are different, and that miracles were performed by some man 2,000 years ago. Okay? That's what he believed, okay? And he believed that magic is satanic rituals and so on. So I answered him and let him know that there's only one power, and that God and the devil is actually the same person. Okay, it's just understanding the law of opposite, or the law of polarity. You see, a coin have two sides, but the same coin. You have a head, you have a tail. You can't have light without darkness, and you can't have darkness without light. You can't have magicians of light and you don't have magician of darkness. So we accept the magician of darkness, and we are not against them. We have no hatred towards them. But we just want to bring light to those who are under their spell. I'm just waiting for the wind to calm a little bit so you could hear me clearly. So I'm reaching out to people who want to deconvert themselves from the spell that was passed down on their parents, and the parents passed on the same spell on them. Okay, because there are people who've been trapped in organized religion for a long time and they knew something was wrong, but they just couldn't put their hand on it. And so I'm bringing clarification to them. I'm bringing clarity to their minds. That's what I'm doing. Okay, and we are not here to change the system. We are just here to fulfill. We haven't come here to change the political system or the religious system. We have just come here to fulfill the work that we came here for. Having been here many times, I know the battle have always been between the dark magicians and the magicians of light. And so the dark magicians are doing their work. So don't vex with them. So when you see the Creflo Dollars of the world and the T.D. Jakes of the world, and you see the Kenneth Copelands of the world and the Chris Agriali, I think that's his name in Africa, and the many other mega preachers in Africa, okay, that is casting their spells and bringing their people under their spells as dark magicians, keeping them in the darkness, having them looking on the outside, having them trapped in the Maya, in the illusion. They're doing their work. So we are not trying to stop their work, okay? We are just trying to show you the balance and show you that you have a choice which side to be on, okay? And how you gonna live your life on this planet, okay? Now, the very first thing I want to let you know is that we are all magicians. So go ahead and comment down below. I am a magician, a conscious magician. So the power that you use as a magician is your mind power. That's the same power that these dark magicians are using. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go in the book of mind science and I'm gonna explain a magical story to you that the church definitely don't want you to understand, but I'm gonna get you to understand it. Moreover, I'm gonna get you to put things to work in your life and prove what I am saying when I tell you that there was no actual exodus. There has never been any literal exodus thousands of years ago. No. Moses meant to be born or to be taken out of the water. For you to understand what I'm going to say, you have to understand phallic. And phallic is in the Bible. And if you know what is a fellatio and a cunnilingus, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But for those who might not understand, let me explain it to you. What people refer to as a blood job, that's fellatio. And when a man going down on a woman, that is cunnilingus. And when the Bible speaks about milk and honey, you have to understand the discharge from both parties, okay? And you have to understand when you're in the act, you're in heaven, and heaven is within. And you have to understand there's a place in mind, in imagination, in your consciousness, in your awareness, for everything exists in your consciousness and your awareness. That's why I'm telling you, they've been controlling your sexuality and the power that you have, the sexual power I'm speaking about, that you can transmit to give you every desire. They've been controlling that. That's what the dark magician's been doing. Okay, but I'm gonna expose everything for you. So Moses meant to be born or to be taken out of the water. Most of the body is water. And when your mother is conceived, she Red Sea stop flowing. Why? She got struck by this magic rod. And I'm going to explain it for you. And you're going to see it. Because I'm going to show you a picture in your mind. You'll have to get that picture in your mind of the anatomy of your body, where I will show you your whole nervous system from the base of your spine to the crowning of your head. So you will understand the rod, the magic rod. Okay, but let me just go on to explain a little bit more about Moses. Okay, so when you was in your mother womb, you was in a basket surrounded by water, because most of the body is water. And you had to take an exodus to have this human experience. So you have to leave from one dimension to come over into this dimension to have this human experience. Now, when you take the exodus and you come over into this dimension, okay, the wind is blowing again. I want to make sure you get everything. Okay? Yeah, so when you come over, before you even come over into this dimension, you'll give your mother the indication of birth pain. That is you operating your infinite intelligence right there to come over here. And when you come over here, you will find that your body is a slave to your mind. So you will find that you have to face Pharaoh, which represent your circumstances. And so the things that governs your life in terms of the thoughts that you go back to each and every day, that governs over your life and take preeminence over you, that is where you actually live psychologically. And that's where Pharaoh is ruling over you. So watch this. So the dark magicians always pointing you to look at the pharaohs. What do I mean by that? They point you to look at your circumstances. Look at the preachers and the politicians. What they are offering you? The things that are the creation when you are actually the creator. The things that are the effect is what they are offering you when you are actually the cause. So they're hiding the fact that you are the cause. And they point you to the effect. So they are keeping you in the mindset of Egypt. A place of bondage. A place where you have no power. You live like a slave. They use the banks. They use the credit unions. They use the credit cards. They use all of these things. And they make you become a slave to money instead of money being your servant and your slave. That's what the dark magicians do. So as I was saying, you have the exodus, you come over here, you have to face your Pharaoh, which are your circumstances. Your body is a slave to your mind. That's the slavery it is talking about. Okay? But you have a strong desire to find your Canaan land. And I did a video earlier concerning the prostitution secret, where I show you the secret of Rahab, the harlot, and the two spies, which represent the secret that you must discover of the power that you have in you that will give you every desire. Because a harlot at home will give you every desire, all your dreams and so on, and all the fantasies, all the things you've been fantasizing about. Once you can pay the price. The money is what you pay the price with, but real money is the currency you have in your body, which goes back to your mentality. You see where I'm coming from? Okay. So, if what I've just said there, it makes sense to you, then I could go further and show you the anatomy of your body, your physiology, your biology, and your psychology. Because the rod to perform these magic with is the backbone. And there's 33 bones of the vertebra. And the backbone, you could see it everywhere around you in symbol form. The magic rod. Go to a hospital, you'll see the symbol. Go to a pharmacy, you'll see the symbol. Go to a clinic, you see the symbol. Go to a doctor's office, you see the symbol. Some call it the caduceus. You see the serpents and the pole, which represent the wisdom. Now, all of that represents your whole nervous system from the base of your spine. And right below that is where the milk and honey is. While there is milk and honey at the top too. And when you get a real spiritual awakening, is when that which is above come down and meet with that which is below. And when that which is above and that which is below meet down at the base, at the spine, there's a union, a real marriage. And you're going to bring forth instantly. The tomb is going to open. The skull. You're going to have the virgin birth and the resurrection at the same time. You're going to change from mortal to immortality at the same time. I know what I'm talking about because I'm speaking from experience. That's why I put the book together. The secret vagina mystery of the virgin birth. So when I speak about the magic rod and I speak about your mother was struck with a rod and she stopped. When she stopped having she monthly cycle, I am taking the backbone, come right down to the base of the spine, and I'm showing you when you have an erection that is connected to the whole nervous system and to the backbone. So I'm introducing you to the most potent and most powerful magical elixir. So when I speak about the fellatio and the cunnilingus, and I talk about the discharge that gives off and the milk and the honey, I'm talking about the magic elixir. So the church don't want you to know these things. Because if you know, you start to operate in a magical power. Now, I want to show you a deception of the dark magicians. What the dark magicians did, they convinced the religious and superstitious minds that Pharaoh had some magicians, but Moses wasn't performing or using magic. He was using miracles. But Moses' miracle was more powerful than Pharaoh magician. So Pharaoh walkers, they ain't magician, but the church tell you it's miracles. So basically now, let me show you that in another way. So these dark magicians, they give you a miracle man outside of yourself, which is basically an imaginary man. But you don't realize it's an imaginary man. So you're denying the power of your imagination and you're looking for some idol on the outside. Okay, they give you that. While on the other hand, these dark magicians, especially those at the higher level, they have the people that they just consult. These presidents and prime ministers, these kings and queens and all of these people of the aristocrat and so on, which just set up this fake hierarchy system and so on, with their billionaires and so on and their oligarchs and so on. You think they don't have people who they just consult? They have the people who they just consult, or the dark magicians. Because you have to always have the darkness and the light. I'm not here to get angry about what they're doing. They have to do their work. These preachers with their private jet, I'm not angry towards them. They have to do their work. If you want to go and you want to sit under their spell, but they point you to look outside of yourself and keep you in self-doubt and self-hate and judgment and condemnation towards yourself, and you walk around with guilt and shame and you being a borrower and not the lender, you being beneath and not above and so on, and you believe that is what is working for you, and you live your life being miserable, thinking that you are human and you are trying to be spiritual and you want to be good, when deep in your heart, every living day of a miserable life, you're facing positive and negative thoughts. I'm saying that because just this morning I answered back a comment where I had to tell a religious person that same thing. We made a comment. Because he's trying to separate God and the devil and not knowing the same person. Okay? So I show him himself not looking in the mirror. I say every living day of your miserable and deceived life, you will have negative and positive thoughts till the day you die because no one coming to save you. So these dark magicians, they have you looking on the outside. So let me make something clear to you. Anyone who's pointing you to look outside of yourself for some savior or some entity could come and to deliver you and to teach you salvation looking on the outside, they are false prophets and they are dark magicians. Anyone. So that wrap up all religion right there. Not just Christianity alone. Because all these religions, they have the esoteric, the secret teachings that only few knows. Okay? So my brother and my sisters, even in Washington, D.C., you have the obelisk and so on, and these symbols which represent everything what I'm saying to you concerning the phallus and the yawning and so on. Okay? And me having a true experience of the real resurrection that takes place within, I am telling you that on the physical level, you have what you call an erection. And when in the act of creating, and the act is finished, the soft part between a man tie shinks. That's Bible I'm quoting right there now. I'm writing Genesis. So it is likened unto that. And then I show you in nature, the sun always return every morning, the dawn of a new day. And they tell you concerning the son of the morning, Lucifer, the son of the morning, and they tell you Jesus is the bright and morning star. Read between the lines, bro. So when the sun is going down, you're going to bed, you're going to sleep, and when the sun arises, you start to arise again. Death, burial, resurrection. So it's happening physically, it is happening psychologically, it is happening spiritually, but they keep you thinking one-dimensionally. That's why they interpret the Bible to you as literal and a secular history. And they keep you at the level of the animals. So these dark magicians, they keep you at the level of the animals. What do you have that the animals don't have? Mind and speech. Everything that a dog or a pig possess, you possess that too. So if you refuse to use your mind, your reasoning, your thoughts, your intuition, your imagination, your perception, your memory, if you do not learn to use these mental faculties, and you make these dark magicians take your power, because one is offering you a good life while you're here, if you'd only give him your power, sacrifice your power to him. Okay? And it's simple. Just do so. That's how simple he make it for you. And the next one is saying he's promising you a good life after you leave here. And all you have to do is walk up to the altar and accept. And deny yourself. Because when you do that, when you accept an entity and you accept an idol, you deny yourself. They're not just going to come and take your power forcefully. You think they don't know that everything is governed by law and order? How do you think they set up a law system? The law system is just shadowing the real law where all of the universe is governed by. Because all the universe runs by law and order. So your riches walk by law and order. Your abundance walk by law and order. Everything walks by law and order. Okay? So, when you understand that you are a magician, you would realize that your word is your wand, which means how you see yourself, what you believe about yourself, Moreover, how you feel, what feeling and emotion that you allow to govern your life. It will mean what you will experience in this outer physical three-dimensional world. So they blocking you from the world of alchemy. These dark magicians don't want you to know that you're an alchemist. They don't want you to know how you can transmit your energy into the equivalent of money and riches or whatsoever you desire in this world. So real riches is as a result of you waking up. So most people try to get money to feel rich. No, it's the other way around. You will earn money and attract money as a result of you getting rich because you're already rich. You have to get it. You have to understand it. That is why these dark magicians will have the people going out, working like slaves, doing 2 and 3 and 4 jobs, and then they have to come and bring the tithes and the offering. Why? Because they're making a deal with the devil and the pulpit. Come on. They who tell you about the devil, if the devil want to be like God, where you think the devil going to go? Where you think the devil going to operate from? They must be from the pulpit. Why you think both of them always use a pulpit, a platform? And then they have other people below them who going out there to try to seduce the people. Why you think they have NATO and all of these different organizations and around the world, family planning, eugenics, you have all of these different things. PAHO, all of those things. WHO, all of those things. These are programs that are run by dark magicians. Why you think a man in the NFL or in the NBA, they can't say certain things? Because the dark magicians that control and run those sporting bodies will discipline them. They run the world. Even on social media. There's certain things they would want to penalize you for saying. Dark magicians at work. But are they really powerful? No. What they do, they work with the majority. And in order for them to be able to get the majority or the masses, they have to basically rape you. Let me explain to you what I mean. Sometimes they don't even want to use words like these. I would say grape. When you're a little child in your formative years, they force themselves upon you. How do they force themselves upon you? In the school system where they indoctrinate you, especially if you live in the Caribbean, Africa, and a lot of these so-called third world countries where the people have a third world mentality, okay? Third class way of thinking, okay? And that is something that there's a program they put inside of you from a very young age in your formative years, okay? So like for example, down here in the Caribbean at school, in the morning you have to say praise to the idol. And then in the afternoon, you have to say praise to the idol. When you go and get your lunch to eat, and then when you come back from your lunch, you say praise to the idol. Then when you're leaving to go home, you get your final program to the idol, to pray to the idol. And then your parents who've been brainwashed and go through the system and still been kept under the dark magic, they're going to enforce you going on your knees and speak to some idol outside of yourself to just before you go to bed. That's why all of my bedtime secret videos, check them out. And in this week, I had the bedroom secret coming for you and some other secrets. And for those of you who this message really, really resonates with strongly, I'll be doing a lot of more deeper teaching on my university. Okay, and I'll be putting some stuff there that, you know, I know definitely, okay, cannot go on YouTube. And I'm being honest, 100% honest with you. And when I go more into details, you know, when I don't put those things, you understand what I'm talking about. Okay. So my brother and my sisters, you are a magician. And I'm here trying to get you to activate your magical self. That's why you have to learn to practice daily. Whether is it meditation, visualization, scripting, mindful breathing, and a lot of the things are techniques that I have to teach you to really activate your magical self. Have to do with your breathing. That is the life force you're talking about. Some people want to tell you the semen and all of that is the life force and so on. Bro, that is the effect. The breathing, the invisible, you can't see, you can only feel it. And it's the feeling that brings that substance. Okay? So they always keep you on the physical realm. That is why, for example, someone who's been bewitched by the semen retention reach out to me and ask me what beef I have against semen retention. And you know what that person tried to state? He used an example of George Washington Carver, thinking I didn't know anything about George Washington Carver, and saying that he was castrated. So I replied to him, I say, in the Trans-Sahara slave trade, there's so many black men that were castrated, and in the transatlantic slave trade, they were castrated. So what is your point? I say, George Washington Carver, faith of the infinite intelligence within himself is what gave him the idea for all the different uses of the peanut and the other things. So, my brother, my sisters, when you have knowledge of self and you become more aware and you awake from this dream of life, naturally, you just become very much more intelligent and you would know certain things without spending time in certain libraries and so on. Because, for example, when you live in these parts, you have no metaphysical library, you have nothing to know about these things, know anything about these things. But when I had my awakening experience, I get to know all of these things. Okay. So he's going to use that. So I asked him at the end, why don't he go and get castrated? Because he's trying to say that, and he was commenting on my video called Ejaculation for Manifestation. He was trying to say, well, George Washington Carver couldn't ejaculate. And that's why he ended up and become this well-known person and all of that. It's foolishness. You gotta be real dumb. So then all the men should go get castrated. You see, as a black man, your sexual prowess is what they're after and they're against. That's why they weaponize black women with fake education and a fake church system. And when you become weak and you have women holding you accountable to whether you go church or yes, and you can't hold them accountable for their virgin hole, you're weak, you're a simp. It's just yesterday. Yesterday, I went to the grocery and that grocery store normally close a certain time. So I drove across right in front of that supermarket and the security guard was at the door. Okay, but I reached it exactly at the time when they normally like close. So basically, I asked him if I could just run in there to get something and come back out. Tell me no. And then just after, a young lady passed and he allowed the young lady to go in. And I start on him. I say, see? I say, where is your bars? You have no bars. I say, you're a simp. He's trying to tell me, oh, the young lady mother's inside. I say, you're lying. She mother is not in there or anything like that. Because I look at the lady when she was coming towards the door and I could have seen her body language and so on. No, she wasn't going to meet anyone inside there either. Because he could have tell her wait outside because your mother have to come out. And when I start with him, he realized, you know, how weak he was. You know, I say, what you? I'm scared. Look how scared have you. Okay, being a simp. You know, then he starts smiling because he realized he can't trick me. So, my brother, my sisters, you have to be men in this time, okay? And realize that you're a magician. And I want you to be a conscious and a deliberate magician. Now, let me say something about AI. Do you know that AI is basically using social media to connect you to the whole AI program? When you start to go listen to videos and social, that's just a start, and social media with all of these AI. You know what these people who have these AI channels are doing? They're listening to like people like us here, and they take what you're saying and they put it in different words, they frame it different and so on. That's what they're doing. And then they're going to get a bunch of views. And then when you understand the law of reproduction, that every seed and every species must and will always reproduce after its own kind, where they bring in intellectuals just like them, intellectuals and brainwash and deceive and have a AI mentality. Okay, it's the same thing happening to you, and they're connecting you to those people. All those are the working of these dark magicians. Then there's another thing I see that these dark magicians doing, and many Africans are falling for it. And so if you listen to me and you're from Africa and you have friends, you have relatives in Africa, you know, African YouTubers, okay, try to help them also. Okay, help me help them. Okay, let me show you the trick. We reach a place where these people who are keepers of time, they know the time is near, and the privilege that was given to them from stealing and killing and robbing and maiming and all of these things, buck breaking, all these things they did. Okay? Because they know that their children, who's their offspring, who is no different from them, okay? They are using social media to try to tell you how great you are as a melanated person, because they know your weakness is that you like to be entertained. But their weakness is their pride. I did a video on that already. You can check it out. Black people weakness and white people weakness. And I do a video called Ice People and Sun People. That's why I'm going to teach you at my university. Those of you who come over my university are going to teach you the Sun Man breathing technique, along with the Ice Man. I'm going to show you the Ice Man and the Sun Man. You'll get the video too. Okay? Yeah. What they're doing, they're telling you all of these things to play with your ego. And so these African guys, they love the AdSense, the little revenue from the AdSense. Because remember, they use an economic slavery, okay? And they plunder Africa, taking all the wealth of Africa, and they have some puppet leaders in Africa who've been educated in the West with fast education, some old fellas and things, you know, still carrying around the colonial mentality and so on, right? So these guys, these African guys, they're making these videos, they're getting a lot of views and so on, and they keep doing it and not knowing that they're tricking them. Let me give you an example. I saw a Caucasian bare-faced liar saying that our God spoke to him in a dream and tell him about the greatness of black people and so on, and how Jesus didn't come to do this and Jesus didn't come to do that and all of that, okay? Trying to keep, that's the last straw they have, you know. That's the last straw they have. The Jesus agenda. So these people would laugh with you, they would talk with you, they would tell you you're great. They would tell you you're the original. They would tell you you're Hebrew Israelite. They tell you Jesus was black. They tell just to keep the Jesus program. Because that's the last straw. Because that's what they use. It's the idol and the idolatry that they use. We never had religions. It was always a science that's connected to nature. If you check the Oration, you check voodoo, you check the spiritual baptism, you check our spiritual system. I go check our spiritual system from every country in this world and show you it's the same one thing. And they go all the way back to nature. They can't check us. They have to get their karma. You can't escape the karma. They want a resurrection without a death. So they want to do all of the things they do, enjoy all of the privilege, but they want to escape. So all these gullible African YouTubers who doesn't know anything about John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Bobby Hemmett, any of the greats, Phil Valentine, brothers and sisters who listen to me from America, you know all the different people. I can't mention all. So instead of they putting up videos and putting on their thumbnail, these men like Brother Ben and Brother Henry Clark and Delbert Blair and these people, you know, they put up on their thumbnail to get views. They put up these white people who is coming on social media and they are lying and playing with your ego to tell you how great you are. You don't need a white man to tell you how great you are as a black man. You don't need no Caucasian to bring no clarification concerning who you are. Because until they're willing to accept that they were given privileges that didn't come the right way to them, and they're willing to humble themselves from the false pride, which they would not do because that's their weakness, their pride. I remember meeting a Caucasian man right in my country, and I watch him all over. Then I watch him from the soul, I feel from down my toes come right up, and then right to his eyes, right in his soul, and I beat my chest. I say, I am God. Who are you? You know what he do? He turn around and say, he's God too. Yet, he have on a short mark, the last testament of Jesus, and he have a picture of a blonde hair blue boy. And then he going around in my island telling the people about last day prophet Joseph Smith and Jesus. You see? They are spies. These missionaries are dark magicians. I've had many experiences with these dark magicians, the Jehovah's Witnesses also. Okay, I've met them, and all of them contact me in the gym hall already. When they have the women that they normally bring and keep them in secret, the witches. But I don't even want to call them witches. I'm just using that word for lack of word right now because a real witch is really a wise woman, you know. And a wizard is really a wise man. But the dark witches, let me put it that way, the dark ones, they're certain knowledge, but they use it for dark purposes. Because you have wizards, dark wizards, and you have the wise ones, are the ones of light, that's here to elevate you, to motivate you, and to uplift you, to point you to believe in yourself and to love yourself, like what I am doing. Because I could use this power to brainwash and deceive people. Let me tell you something. I've done a lot of social experiment for a long time. I went to a church and stay out at the door, knowing that I full up with young women. Okay, African women, because they're here as medical students and all of that. I know they will come out and they will approach me. Okay, and try to invite me in. And I know they can't stand the truth. So I'm going to tell them the truth. Okay. And I said to her, I will only come to church. I will only accept the invitation under one condition. See, what is that condition? I'm going to let you know up front, if I come there, I'm only coming there for women. I ain't coming there for no gospel or whatever. I'm coming for women like you. She walk away. She can't stand the truth. And that's the truth. I could have just pretend. You see what I'm talking about? So you see why religious women are very vulnerable and gullible and easily deceived. Because when you realize that marriage is a scam and it's a fake, okay, and those of you who want to see how much I could prove that, right? Different to my book, The Truth About Marriage. I did a video, you get that video sometime in the week, okay? The bedroom secret that they don't want you to know, okay? You get that video, okay? I already done it. I am telling you, if a man goes into a church and he starts to speak about marriage, women not ready. And the thing about women, the more lies you tell a woman, the faster she's willing to open her legs. Because she don't want the truth. She can't stand the truth. That's why churches are filled with women. So these dark magicians, they're preying on women because that's how they're trying to get the men and to have the men in a weak way. They're using the woman. So that's why I'm telling you, they use black women talking about, oh, do you love the Lord and all of this foolishness. All these walk of the dark magicians. Okay, and the dark magicians will always be here. And the magicians of light will always be here pointing you to discover your magical self. That is why I would have restructured the Bible and remove the idol Jesus. And I leave a blank space for you to write your name, which is I am. Because that's the essential character they put to rob you of your consciousness and your awareness being the essential character. The essential character in the book of mind science is you. So if a Japanese man reading my Bible and in the blank space he put I am, where he put that I am, he affirmed those words to himself. If a Chinese man, if an Indian man, doesn't matter which kind of man, once you put I am, you're seeing your image and your likeness. That's why I removed Jesus, the idol. That book is on the internet. It's on Amazon. It's 3 books. It has the old and the new. The old is in 2 because it's in big print. It's called the 66 Books of Magic. The Overcomer's Bible. And what I did, I used reverse psychology and I put on it that is dedicated to Abdullah Neville Goddard, knowing that Neville Goddard, being the son of a slave master, he come from a family where they used to own slaves in the Caribbean, born in Barbados, and they knew the esoteric understanding of the Bible, and they knew at some time men like myself would awake and bring truth to our people. So what he did, he fabricated a story of a black mentor from Ethiopia, knowing that the knowledge still in Ethiopia and been passed down to a certain bloodline of mystics. Not a bloodline like where people think, oh, Haile Selassie, your grandson, no, not that kind of bloodline. You understand? And because he knew that, in order to detract you away from your present master teacher, he gave you a fabricated black mentor he called Abdullah. And for years, I played the game with them, knowing that they did remove the Wikipedia and the brotherhood that he was connected to. So those of you who don't know about the channel, I have a channel in Abdullah, Never Gathered than Abdullah. Okay? But it's now I come now and I start to expose him. In the last video I do, Never Gathered exposed. Okay, so you could go over there, drop me a like, a comment, you can subscribe and so on. Let us get that channel going too, because I have a lot of things to really expose and so on. That is why those people who trying to run the Never Gathered program and the Never Gathered cult and to distract you, they putting up a bunch of pictures about Never Gathered this, Never Gathered that. No. Because when you really understand, you start to understand why they had the black bully, and you start to understand why you don't even trust the people who look like you, who are sellouts, who decide to be horse slaves and so on, and who want to hide secret from you. What, you didn't come here by no secret. Why you should die with a secret? You know one thing why when certain invitation was given to me, why I refused? When I get my awakening experience, I went into dreamland, and while I was in dreamland and a high mountain, in like something like a bar overlooking the sea, there was someone from this country, multi-millionaires. I remember quite vividly my grandmother being a very, very poor woman. I used to walk with them long time ago when I was a little boy. These were the first people I ever see had swimming pools and so on, that lands and so on, that big house, big building, rented building in the city. And when I was in dreamland, a person in their family, okay, who passed on was there. And I was speaking and they was just looking at me and they wasn't saying anything. But I had an innate ability whereby I know while that person was over here. So while I was in the dreamland, you know I wasn't over here in this realm. I know I was in that realm. Do you know something? You could wake up yourself. Yeah. While in a dream, you could actually know a dream. You know? Sometimes I could be dreaming and then I could say, this is a dream. I'm going to wake myself up and I will wake myself up. You could do all of that. You could find yourself in a different dimension. If you could wake up yourself, you could find yourself in a different dimension. But if you don't know how to get back here, you panic. You might die too. But anyway, and I need the ability to know that that person, they die and they go over into that realm with that consciousness and that awareness of holding a secret. Say the chop. It's a soul chop. It's a soul tie. Me making no vow and nothing to no organize brotherhood and nothing like that. What I have comes to me naturally. Yes, my brother, my sisters. So all these things I'm speaking about is to basically just to show you the dark magicians and the real magicians of light. So don't get impressed with these preachers whereby you think they are billionaires and you think that they are multi-millionaires and so on. If you have a house with 10 rooms, you only could sleep in one. You have 10 Bugattis. You have how much Rolls Royces. You have how much Lamborghinis. You name it. You can only drive one at a time. So all of these kind of material things, though it's good to have them, okay, especially if you know that you are a magician and you really, really want to prove that you're a true magician, okay, and you just want to be as comfortable as you can, not to worry, not to fret about money or anything else and so on. You can live on that level. You don't have to go to the extreme. That's why these men who are on Epstein list and so on, they go to another level, and you notice the kind of things they do is always goes back to what? Man, the sexual thing he always go back to. When it's not pedophilia and so on and all of that, and people like to talk about Diddy and all of that, so I think they're just disciplining Diddy. Why you think Beyonce and Kanye West bring out two kind of songs? You think it's them? There was Kanchak. One say Jesus a king. Dark magician in operation. Let me tell you a little story. Okay. In my country, they normally celebrate carnival. And when you have carnival, the woman is just basically almost naked. Okay, very much half naked, showing off the body, expressing themselves. I have no condemnation towards them. Okay. But these religious people, this Saturday when I was having kiddies carnival, because they normally have the little kids and things, they normally have carnival for them. That Saturday they come out with their big music. You know what they playing? These idiots. Guess what they playing? Beyonce. When Jesus say yes. Who you think own those labels? Kanye West, Beyonce, all of these big labels. You think they own those labels? Who you think own the labels? Say people own the labels, they own NBA and so the NBA and all of those sporting bodies, you know. And these religious idiots playing those kind of things, trying to counteract what the people doing, thinking that, oh, that is of the world. Everything you do is of the world. So these dark magicians, they keep the people delusional. That's why my brother and my sisters, as a young man, if you listen to me, stay away from a religious woman. Stay away from a religious woman. I am telling you, when you know what I know, you could start a church and you could sleep with about 20 men who are not really men. Okay, you could sleep with their wife too. Because why? When a man allows you to have that kind of power over him, he's not a man. He's some little sissified boy. So no real men don't go. Real black men, I talk about black men. Real upful, self-realized, self-actualized, common sense black men would never call on a white boy to be Lord and the God and the Savior and the Redeemer. No blonde hair, blue-eyed boy, or ever endorse any place in the Middle East, killing people, carrying on genocide, and say, oh, those are chosen people. No. Those are little sissies. No bars, no backbone. So don't make them fool you. So, because as I said before, you don't understand the power of the nervous system. You don't understand your backbone. It's the rod, the magical rod. That's why you don't understand. You would never understand when they speak about Jacob ladder. When they talk about opening up of the 7 seals. And you go in the book Revelation. and you do not understand. Is the revealing of your own self, your higher self, your God self, your Jan. Yeah, your love, pure love. When you come into self-love, yeah, you the one will be deserted. Yeah, this is a lonely walk. They can't fool me. Why you think they burn men at the stake and women at the stake? Do you know that the church have been hunted people like us for centuries upon centuries and centuries upon centuries, and we always coming back? It has always been like this. Dark magicians against magicians of light, because the magicians of light want you to wise up towards knowing who you are. That's what it's all about. So you think those who fighting for dominance with all the bombs and the guns and so on, and they at the same time they're giving you a Black Jesus agenda. Putin coming the Black Jesus agenda, playing with you. Is Africa the after? If you walk across people, why does Africa have all of those wealth? Everything you need. Think to run your cell phone, you have to get it out of Africa. Everything you need. Why? So my brother and my sisters, Canaan land is finding yourself, your higher self, your God self, your magical self. It's not a distant land outside yourself. Many people leave like these islands, they go to America, Canada, England, because they think that there's a land of opportunity. In a distance land. The land of opportunity, they're right between your two ears. You have two ears. And the land of opportunity is right between here. So my brother, my sisters, time for you to shit on the dark magicians. Okay? And take back your power and be a magician of light. So don't try to, like, let me say, try to change people. The dark magicians always do that. That is why when you become spiritual, don't be spiritual and be religious with it. Trying to bring your family members and trying to convince them this is not church. This is a lonely walk. Okay? So you now start to walk on yourself as a magician. Start to use the magic wand. And to use the magic wand, the backbone I'm speaking about, right? Okay? The magic rod. To use the magic rod, you have to sit a certain way. Or you lie a certain way. And align yourself to activate your whole nervous system. That is why the breathing techniques that I'm telling you about, that I'm not going to put right out in the public like that, which I believe if I do it, YouTube could flag me too, eh? Okay for that. Okay, I know what I'm talking about, okay? I'll show, you will realize how magnetic and electrical you are. And you will realize these breathing techniques that I'm going to share with you, they're more powerful than Wim Hof breathing. Wim Hof breathing just scratching the surface. And they wanted us to fight him down. The medical establishment and so on. Well, if they want to fight down the Iceman, we think about the sun man. That's why I've been teaching the inner sun science and technology to create your reality consciously. I was half of that course. And it's so cheap, just $20 for people who join me Patreon. Sun science, the sun could heal you. But you know what they do? These dark magicians, they want you to believe in what? Some sort of divine healing. And they make you, and they convince you that there was some man thousands of years ago who could have divinely healed you. But you know what happened? These people can't heal you from the banks and the credit unions. They can't heal your pockets because they're taken from you. And yet, they're going to deny that it is not a business. But me, I tell you, everything is a business. Right now, I'm sending out my energy. And what I'm doing, I'm circulating my energy. And my energy is money. So whatever I do, it must bring back to me. I do not have to hold an offering plate. I do not have to use fear and you to tell you, pay tithes. I don't have to tell you that. That's why I always say to you, let your intuition lead you and guide you into what to do. So you see the difference? So the dark magician will take from you to turn back and give to you. Why do you think they run the charity program? Why you think these mega churches and so on, they try to tell you, oh, well, we're going to build school, we're going to do this, we're going to provide jobs. But who they taking it from? The blind, the deaf, the dumb, the lame, the halt. They're not bringing healing to them. They're keeping them in the same situation. That is why, if you go back to a video I did, I was teaching you the man who was impotent. Yeah, I think that was alive. We're talking about whether you're really just spiritual, whether you're horny or you're impotent, and I show you the impotent man. They keep in impotence all your life. Let me show you again. Dark magicians. When you read about the 400, and I think it's about 450 false prophet against Elijah. You think Elijah represents you, your God self, your higher self, your conscious awareness. They had all the elements except the fire. All these mega preachers, they have no fire. The fire is what will bring what? Cleansing and purging. Just like our gold have to go through the furnace to bring out all its value. And the reason why they can't bring any cleansing and they have no fire, these are the same people who would not tell you that the same system that gave them license and the same system that they applied to and the same system that is backing them is the same system that set up the pornography industry. It's the same system that legalized homosexuality and LGBTQ and so on. Everything that these dark magicians are preaching against, they are apart. Church and state, they're married. Signified by what? Jezebel and Ahab. Symbols. You can read the Bible and understand it by the academic education it was given. It's not by that. There's a different language, a hidden language. There's a language of symbology that have always been known to wise men down through the ages. Mystics. That's why they used to kill them. They hunt them down, the crusaders. And people normally go around and say, oh, we're going to have a crusade. They're hunting for you, to convert you, to make you a slave to their program. They put everything together nice here Rome. 300 and around 380 around there. Nice here Rome, they come up with a whole plan. And I'm here to free all melanated men and women. It's been too long. Why you think all these mega preachers in Africa and all around the place, they have mansions here, they have mansions there. It's to escape, you know. They're planning the escape plan. Because when there's a mass awakening, and that is why I'm trying to wake you up before they weaponize these robots, you know. You could stay and wait until they weaponize these robots. They're going to turn around and tell you it was an accident. Then they get rid of all of the migrants. These dark magicians, they get rid of all the migrants because they want to, what they want to do with you melanated people, they want to put you back in the plantation system. Though they already have you in the corporate plantation system too, you know. They want to have you in on the farms. And these are the things that these African YouTubers playing. And they get excited because they fail to realize that you have black magicians, you have white magicians, you have Chinese magicians, you have Japanese magicians. When a white billionaire and a black billionaire and a Chinese billionaire and all of the different billionaires of the different races meet together, I think they talk in race. They talk about they could scam more money from you. They talk about how they could mastermind you. I'll do a different video concerning the pledge that they normally make with the hand and the Bible and the swearing and so on. I'll do another video on that and show you certain things. So my brother and my sisters, if I sit here and I tell you that I am not a magician, then I'm a liar. And I'm lying to you. I am a magician too. If I sit here and I tell you that I'm not using the same power that they use, or what they are using, I'll be lying to you. But the difference is, I am not using it to control you. I'm using it to help you to find the best version of yourself. I'm not using it to bring doubt and guilt and shame and judgment and condemnation. That's why I tell you, use the mirror. That's why I tell you, pleasure yourself. That's why I tell you, don't think about masturbation in don't think about it one-dimensionally. It's not just this alone. Psychological and spiritually too. Pleasure yourself. How you can pleasure yourself if you don't have self-discipline, self-mastery, if you can't hypnotize yourself through meditation, through visualization, if you can't do scripting, if you can't do affirmation, if you can't find yourself in isolation, if you can't do these things. And so they set up a law system and they will say to you, ignorance is no excuse to the law. And they're right. But you think it is talking about the judicial law. No, the judicial law is of infinite divine laws. So when you do something and you give them power over you because you acting outside of who you're supposed to really be as a civilized, well-knowledgeable being, they know you're breaking all of the laws. So you have to break divine infinite laws before you could break their setup laws. You see how the thing does work? That's why when melanated people want to come out and follow them with the ice thing, you're getting deceived. Don't follow the Haitians and so on if they want to do that. What you were supposed to do when you leave Haiti, go enrich yourself and go back to Haiti. Because you see what the dark magician Clinton did. But he was just acting from those who is actually in a higher place than him, who was casting down instruction on him. So when Haiti was producing rice for its people, he going to bring a cheaper rice for the people. That's the work of the dark magicians. Okay? And let me say this again to my melanated brothers and sisters. When I was being prepared to bring this work to you, I remember one night, I was listening to a man, and this was a white man, and I didn't know who he was. But when I was working in the post office, they found a box of tapes, and they were there for over 3 years. And a lady reached out to me and asked me if I want them instead of they destroy them, because they have a place we used to go and burn this stuff, okay, by the government printry. That's when I used to work by the post office. They go and burn certain stuff. And the lady asked me. That's when I turned the age at 30. That's when the black man walk out of the fire that doesn't consume and give me my commission. And so I was listening to this black man, this white man, not knowing this white man was a student of the imperial wizard of the KKK way back in even before I was even born. Okay, this man was trained by the imperial wizard. The imperial wizard for the KKK at that time was called Roy E. Davis. I'm the facts, you know. And to cut a long story short, when I go to bed, as a matter of fact, before I go to bed, I was told to go to bed because I was going to get a dream. Okay, and to cut a long story short, that when the black man give me my commission. Okay. And so, long after, I end up and meet that same man who was trying to give the black people to believe that he's a last day prophet. I meet him in Dreamland, in a place within us called Woodland, where most people, when they go there, they don't come back from Woodland. Night after night, I hearing him. Can't find him. When I found him, I went ahead of him and I see what he was doing in woodland, in his movement, wherever he put his feet, when he move his feet. A tree will appear there, so you get lost in the wilderness if you follow him. These people have you going wrong in circles with the Jesus agenda. When you hear me say, when you are a melanated person, you can't come to the place that you can say, fuck paper Jesus, fuck the blonde hair blue eye idol. When you can't say fuck Jesus because you believe it's blasphemy, you still in a coma, you know, you lost. Because they're cursing your ancestors and you're afraid to curse them. You're cursing the white man. Because he projects an image of himself to you to worship and bow down to, when we never had no such a religion. And tell you that we used to worship sun god. They want you to know that the sun is the light of the world. And they shift the sun and give you a SON. So yeah, he was trained by the Imperial Wizard at the KKK, and he was a part of the Masons too. So my brother, my sisters, a lot of people who look like you, okay, don't get too caught up because they look like you too. It's the only two set of people in the world: the dark magicians and the magicians of light. That's it. So you're either spiritual or you're delusional. Because if you want to deny the fact that you are spirit having a human experience, you're delusional. You can't be a real man, a real black man, and you calling on Jesus. I have no respect for no man who talking about a Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, like the man who popped the balloon, BM. Anybody who ever watch Pop the Balloon in Arlet and BM? Come on, man. Me have no respect for you, man. So, my brother, my sisters, I'm going to read the comments just now. I'm going to read the comments. But let me just reiterate. If you've been seeing those African YouTubers, I know that they're trying their best to earn a living. And they want to get AdSense and thing and so on, right? And they will see their videos growing and so on, right? But don't compromise and don't go hunting for these people videos where they're trying to say they're speaking good about black people, to say black people are choosing and black people is this and black people that. You don't want to hear it from them. Okay, so help me out, my brothers and sisters. Let me just repeat that again. Help me out in reaching out to these African YouTubers and tell them to learn to know about people like John Henry Clark and Brother Ben and these kind of people and so on. Show them the amount of black men in America and the Caribbean like myself and so on, and these other people who have been bringing light to the people for years, pointing them back to Marcus Garvey, pointing them to the many stalwarts from Jamaica, St. Kitts. Even my country, same as on the Grenadines, because look at me right here representing. Show them. Okay, let them know. So they don't have to look to these disgruntled disgruntled people who are given privilege. I'm trying to find a name to call them. Okay. Welfare babies. Okay, these welfare babies and so on. Okay. I see in America now, they're trying to say the people who would have to go on the farms, the people who get their Medicare and so on, and it seems like they're targeting a certain set of people, which is basically like more melanated people. You have to be so careful. Okay. So my brother, my sisters, there must be a way out. A lot of people who trying to stand up against ICE and so on, it is because they would have waste time. They went to America and they get caught up with the lifestyle. Down here, I will wear one pair of shoes for a whole freaking year. But people, they want to show you they got a whole rack of shoes. But what does that prove? You have a bunch of freaking brand clothes. You have Louis Vuitton bag and all kind of bullshit. Instead of you go up there and have containers coming on to your country, and then afterwards you come down and establish yourself. Many people haven't done that. Too late. Even the book of Mind Science tell you, the people who were kept in slavery, they borrow from the Egyptians. If you really if I really open that and really show you, you understand why generational wealth is so important. Why you have to take back everything. We're taking back everything. You don't need no bombs and no guns. You're taking back everything. Everything have to come back to you. It must. Look, you can't plant pumpkin and reap watermelon. So no one ain't gonna laugh with me and smile with me. Look, let me tell you something. As long as you are the employee and they are the employer, man, they would laugh with you. You must get my book. Book Remember Result and the Messenger. That's where I learned to be around these kind of people, to understand them and see how they think about you. So my brother, my sisters, come on. The church, the so-called church system must fall, and it will fall. But it doesn't mean that it would be completely obliterated. Let me use that word, completely thing. No, you still have what we call like the black church and all these things. You will still have the idiots in them. They will always be around. But as much as possible, as much people as possible that we can wake up, that's what I'm talking about. And then the Fars Nation of 1948 will keep getting weaker and weaker and weaker. You realize the more we discover who we are, and the more we say fuck Jesus, they fall in more, you know. Yeah. Why Jesus? Because they build their strength and their power off of that by having you professing and confessing that they are chosen, and you professing that they have a Messiah, but you don't have no Messiah. And then they making you believe that when things bad with them and everybody turn against them, that their Messiah gonna come. And then you're gonna be with one with them and their Messiah. Wait. You come around me talk about Jesus, I give you a clout, man. We get some common sense. I want to clout anybody back of your head. Right by the back of your head to wake up the secret there. There's a secret by the back of your head. I'll talk about that another time. Dark magicians. The boy Bibi. All them dark magicians come over from Europe. They've been vampiring, feasting off of the blood. And all your so-called preachers, your mega preachers, wolves in sheep clothing. Dark magicians. Oh boy. When people in South Africa and all of Africa wake up and see all these mega preachers and really see who they really are. They're fooling you and telling about Armageddon. The real Armageddon is when we wake up as a collective. We have more and more men with balls who would stand with the people, who's not afraid of death. Who would bring the truth to the people and expose and show them. Look all the dark magicians. That's why they all work together. Politics and religion, they all work together to make them fool you. And they set up the system, and since you have tried the school system. But while you learn late, teach them early. Okay, so my brother and my sister are gonna do, I'm just gonna run through the comments, have a little conversation with you, and then, so I'm gonna go all the way back to the top, okay, and read all of these comments. Okay, so I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible. Okay. Hi, how are you? I'm great. Nice to have you. Leslie Alexander, nice having you. Tai, greetings, my sister. Okay, you've been around for a very long time. I hope you're putting everything to work in your life and, keep going to higher heights. Tina Marie, you have always been around to always supporting this work. I'm very much grateful to have people like you. How much does it cost for one-on-one with you? Just drop me an email. Drop me an email, I'll send the link for you. Okay, I'll send the link for you. Okay. Greetings, be sure to like always support this work. Like, comment, you share this video as much as possible. Okay, wanna get this channel to 25,000, and then from there, then we move on. Okay, I'm taking it, you know, at certain amount of time, and then go to a certain amount. Okay, so for now, my focus is on 25,000. Okay, so I definitely need your support. Okay, Diamond in the Rough TV. I like that name. You Diamond in the Rough. Which continent have the most diamond? Thank you, brother, for your great work. Okay, you're most welcome. Which continent have the most diamond? Time we take back with diamond, with gold, with everything. And the man in Paris. You know what I'm talking about? The man who married to the man. Woo! Macron. Hey. The man who married to the man. I hope that is not the same thing in Obama case, you know. Okay, Fury M. I'm a conscious magician. Of course. You have to declare that. And start to act as a real magician, because that's who you are. We're just magicians here. We are all magicians. But just different level to this thing. But the dark magicians, stay away from these dark magicians. That's why I don't vote. I don't get caught in politics. So if you listen to me, you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or whatever, trust me, you're getting tricked. I am a conscious magician. I create my reality consciously. Yes, you must create the reality consciously. Okay? And that is coming from my team right there. Okay? Diamond in the Rough, I am a conscious magician. Okay? Definitely you are diamond. Every melanated man and every melanated woman should see themselves as a diamond. Okay? Someone said they just farted. I hope you fart on that white Jesus. Bumbo clad. Up to this 2025. Yeah? Black people still worshiping the slave master, the idol of the slave master. That's why the children still continue ruling their ass. All in Jamaica, they take all the land in Jamaica. Chinese control Jamaica. White people control Jamaica. You had the Butch Stewart family, and they control Jamaica. And they set up the thing so long. No, I think a white man campaign in Jamaica now, you know, against wholeness. I think so, yeah. That I am a conscious magician. Yes, we all. Rastafari. Those who proclaim to be Rastafari, you have to know a Ras is an honorable title, you know. Rastafari don't go with poverty and poverty, not the same thing. If you check out Selassie, he had a dynasty. I mean, no disrespect to my Rastafarian brothers and sisters. You catch what I'm saying? But I'll be honest with you. I've seen so many men call themselves Rastafari, and a white woman just come and spread your leg, and that was it. I remember a white woman come and spread your leg in the 1980s, I think, early 90s. And the Rastafarian, when he get the letter with a bunch of money, okay, he gave someone else the letter to read, because I think he couldn't read so good. And it says in the letter, this money is for you to buy a casket. I have the HIV. And the rest is history. He done gone a long time ago. Okay, so if you say you're a Rastafari, you understand? Remember, Ras is an honorable title, and those who had that title, they wasn't poor. Remember that. No disrespect. I'm telling you the truth. Captain of a starship, a few near-death experiences, reported having a knowing while out of body, that only around 2% of humans that die ever make it to heaven. Which heaven? Depending on which heaven you're talking about, hard to believe until you see reaction to even mentioning. So you see, what happened, right? When you go to bed, whatever consciousness you go to bed with can mean what experience you can have in the spiritual world. I've had experiences of death, of hell and heaven and so on. Okay? But now I can show you a different state of consciousness or mind where you are dwelling. Okay? I can show you through the language of symbology. Okay? that was taking place in my consciousness. All dreams, all experiences, it is taking place where? In your consciousness. I love to eat the pom-pom. the magic elixir is down there too, okay? Well, when you start to eat, you start to talk about eating bad and that kind of thing, you going too much, you eating shit. Okay. Okay. Rasta wind blowing in the bumbo cloth. Okay. Let's say I am a black magician. Okay. Yes, always declare that you're a magician and start to do your magical work. Okay, don't make the church fool you to make you believe that magic is different to miracle. They give you a miracle man, which is basically a magic man, but they don't want you to know that magic man represents basically your consciousness. So what they do, they block you from your consciousness, your awareness, okay, and they give you an imaginary man to block your real imagination, the power of your imagination. That's how they trick you. That's why, if you really understand the book of mind science, you would realize when they give you the first book called Genesis, they say, in the beginning, God, which is basically the invisible. It is showing you your invisible self. And then in St. John 1, they say, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. They say was in the beginning with God. All things was made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. Everything that was made, it was for us what? It was for us a thought. It was for us an idea. It was for us imagine. You are the 13th one with 12 disciples following you. You have 12 powers and 12 strands of your DNA. People who leave the Caribbean island and go to America, the nasty, stinking, dirty thinking went with them. Your disciples will follow wherever you go. You can't escape from your disciples. My email address is blackmadguru@gmail.com. blackmadguru@gmail.com. You say, I am using it to be very rich. As a matter of fact, you are already rich. Okay, what I'm teaching you is to just raise your vibration to match the frequency. So for example, if a person if you never own or ever have $100,000, okay, in your bank account or anything like that, you have to raise your frequency to the frequency of having that 100,000. Once you match that frequency, okay, it will become a reality to you because it's not just what you wish, but it's what you are or what you have become. That is what you will attract. Okay, it's just a reflection. It's just giving back a reflection. So when I say if you plant pumpkin, you can't reap watermelon, that's what I'm talking about. You plant pumpkin and reap a pumpkin. If you match the frequency of a millionaire, you raise yourself to the place of having a millionaire mindset, you're going to attract, okay, all of the circumstances in your life. All of the events going to take place in your life and bring you to that place of being a millionaire, multi-millionaire, whatever it is. Okay, but you have to respect the law of gestation. Everything have a time and it have a season. You have to respect that. So never be too gullible and so on. That's why people get caught in get rich quick scheme and so on. Okay. Okay. Someone says that Jesus is listening. Okay. Well, if you see Jesus as your higher self, your God self, your creative self, and not a man 2,000 years ago, then you're correct. Okay? There's no other Jesus. There's no man who existed 2,000 years ago with special powers. You have to be a bat to really believe that there was a man who existed 2,000 years ago who could have turned water into wine, and now he lives in you and you can't turn literal water into wine. I have a book by that name, How to Turn Water into Wine. All these slave masters who had plantation, you know what they did? They passed down secret from lip to heirs to their children of how to turn water into wine and employ all these black monkeys who talking about Jesus coming soon. I remember I went in the grocery one time and I tell a woman that, come in and tell me about Jesus. I say, these people are calling the people by their name. I say, they turn water into wine and employ your black ass. Someone say, Jesus made me gay. I mean, when you go in the church, okay, and you run into men like Eddie Long. You ever heard about Eddie Long? Eddie Long. There are so much young women in Eddie Long church. Instead of Eddie Long go for the young women, Eddie Long went for the men. All big and buff, yet he gay. I can't understand how a man could be so big and buff. Because I like to be, I've been love to be muscular. I've always been physical since I was a boy. I always like fitness ever since. I can't see how a man could be like that. That's what the churches do, man. Which means Eddie Long must have been molested before by some preacher. I know a guy in my country who went go carry problems to this preacher. But both of them gone now with the HIV. When they tell the wife down in the hospital with the husband, he say, no, my husband is a man again. Someone say Holy Spirit is their strength, resurrection power. Well, this Holy Spirit that you're speaking about, everybody have the Holy Spirit. Even Elon Musk and them have it. Just mean they're using it in the dark way to control people and don't want to enlighten you. Someone say fire for Babylon. Okay, Babylon is basically anything that keeping you from knowing your true self. That's the real Babylon. Someone talk about the two snakes that with the caduceus. It represents your wisdom, that run up your backbone. Okay, the energy that goes up there and so on. Sexual energy. Okay. So let me just remind you people to let's get this channel to 25K. And when we reach 25K, then we take the next step from there, okay? But the main goal, want to reach up there to that 100,000 and get that that YouTube button, button, I think, that button up there, that button that they normally give you, okay? Someone said that's an ancient Greek symbol. When it's the ancient Greek, who Greek you talking about? You realize that we are the oldest people on this planet? Don't get checked with Hippocrates and all of these things they tell you, you know. They're still hiding a lot of things from you. All you have to do is just look at the earth and look at yourself, and that's it. Don't get too caught about all this kind of knowledge thing and thing you read in book and this and that and Greek my ass. And the reason why I say that, when they tell you a person who was Greek, watch your complexion, then you're going to know the life and the truth. The serpent and the staff is an old, you see again playing with words. What is pagan? Fucking some people really don't think. Why is a pagan? Who's a pagan? Do you realize these dark magicians who give you Christianity and give you religion, then you want to turn around and tell you about pagan? They take your own science and turn you against your own science. And you think you're so smart, Big Ben. Fuck you, you're carrying the name of a clock, right? You get so chick, so caught up and so deceived. You really believe, but you have anybody, there's no such a thing as anyone was pagan. Fuck, that's a brainwash. And saying, but it's not Christian. Fuck you talking about? The sun is supplying this whole planet with energy and vitality and with life. So fucking, you could be so dumb. But Christian, what you think is you, BC and Eddie? Wake up, man, wake up. Someone asks, Big Ben, do you think God would accept me for being gay? Do you realize the man who is gay is to reflect the man that is straight? If you understand the polarity, okay, you will understand the gay man is to reflect the straight man. The bad woman is to reflect the good woman. You have to always have these kind of people in the world. You have to always have these kind of people in the world. That's why I'm not gonna hate on a gay man, because if I do that, I get him my energy out of ignorance, not understanding the law polarity, the law opposite. He's just the opposite of me. That's just another version of me. Yeah, and another version of you. Do you realize this whole gay thing is being used as a weapon against those who are ignorant? Because who legalize homosexuality? Politicians. And who tell you vote for politicians? The preachers. People wake up. These Christians, these people like that about Christian and God and church. The real dotish. Look, bro, me ain't trying to be nice. I being real. And it always work for me. And it will always work. You understand? I call you an idiot straight up. I tell you stupid. I tell you dotish. In 2025, you believe I talking about that pagan? Who the fuck is pagan? That's a word that come with the brainwash. That's a part of the shaming game. Just a backsliding and tell you, oh, you're a backslider. That's part of the shaming game. Why should you hate on someone who come out in the public and show you that gay? Why you hate on the man for being himself? While a bunch of boys who like to play like them is some galleys, like them they are 20 women and they're bending over to live a certain lifestyle and they do it in the dark. I know what I'm talking about, you know, because I remember when I used to go to church, okay, and get caught up in Christianity. I used to be on the street very late in the night, real late. Always late in the night with my Bible in my hand. 12, 1 o'clock, and the things I used to see. And the things I used to know, because sometimes they stop and give me a ride. Yeah. Somebody pass and they might know me and say, because late in the night you're talking about. Even Trinidad. You're talking about one of the worst places in Trinidad, a place called Laventil. When I was involved in going to church and thing, and I go down there for convention, following Third Exodus Assembly, that time talking about Last Day Prophet, okay? And this whole Branham shit. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I did between 11 when I get a ride, and the man and I go up the hill, because like a brother from the church give me a ride back, and I had to walk up the hill in Laventil, where I gangsters all that I walk in my Bible. So because I used to walk late in the night in my country, telling you, don't bother with people who just talk about these things who don't have no understanding, okay? So there's no God, no way who's gonna judge you for living whatever life you live. Whatever you sow in this life, that is what you will reap. There's no one gonna judge you, but your actions, every action have the equal result in the reaction. That is the only judgment there is. If you live by the soul, you're gonna die by the soul. If you plant pumpkin, you can't reap watermelon. So don't make nobody fool and talk about there's some guy going to judge you. It's them been playing this fair game and the masses for so long. That's why the church getting weaker and weaker and weaker, because more and more we uncovering the trick and the lies. The lies of the plantation owners, the white man and the lie, and the white idol. That's why I always tell people, any picture you find of any white Jesus, take it and go out in it and shit on it, literally shit on it, and break the course of your life, because it's such a lie. How crazy are you? I'm crazy enough to do exactly what I know I said there. To shit on white Jesus, that white idol they give you and brainwash you, colonize your mind, capture your mind with all of the fake system. Like the governmental system. You're supposed to govern your life. Self-government is the only real government there is. Could you imagine that boy, Bibi? That boy, Bibi, he put away his family and send your children, your sons and your daughters to fight his war while he secure his wife and his daughters and his sons. That's what they do. When these dark magicians have you brainwashed and deceived, they could convince you to take your children to join army, join navy, join police force, join all of these things that they set up. You understand? And these so-called presidents and prime ministers and so on who convince you by using the dark magic, okay, upon you, and you not knowing that you're a magician, they convince you to send your sons and daughters to fight their war while they secure their family. You see the power of the dark magicians? And they're working on you while in your formative years as a little child. You don't know better. Your parents believe that education, which is the fake education, is the key. So they send you school go on, but school is not empowering you to discover how powerful you are or how magical you are. Okay? They having you just regurgitating what they want you to regurgitate. Okay? So, my brother, my sisters, don't make them fool you. Okay? These presidents and prime ministers don't go to war. Trump will send your children to war, but he don't want to go on war. Why don't Trump and Putin and all of these people come and have a boxing match? All these YouTubers and so on just have boxing match and settle the beef. Why these friggin' geeks? They're geeks and nerds. Okay? Why they not going to settle in a boxing match, in a boxing ring? They send your sons and daughters out there and people sit back, clap back and talk about Jesus coming soon. Get your stupid ass out of here. Talking about Jesus coming. Which Jesus? Michael, tell him. If you the same Michael I'm thinking about, you know. Long time you've been telling me you will stop church. I hope you stop, you know, because you just been keep saying, oh, I'm going to stop, and you're going to stop, and you never stop. You know. I hope you know the Michael thinking about, you know. Okay? I ain't going to call this on him. Okay? Hope you know that Michael. Okay? Okay. Help me with that, please. Yeah, I'll be waiting for your email. Okay? What did you say? Oh, I guess not me. I guess someone is talking about it. Thank you, Diamond in the Rough. Yeah, you can always catch me on a live on a Sunday. Okay, I try my best to always, you know, on a Sunday come and you know, have a great time with all you wise people. Okay? Grand rising to all. Nice having you, Tanisha. Okay? It must always be a grand rising. Because the rising, just as you have the rising of the SUN, so you are rising too. Okay, when you have an awakening experience, it's the rising of the SUN in a SON. And the dawning of a new day in your life. Okay, and they check you and give you a SON, Jesus. Man, I know this Jesus thing is so fake. That's why I'm not afraid to curse it. And I will curse it till the day I die. Not even my dead body going in a church. Grand rising from Kenya. Okay, it's good to have someone from Kenya. You brother from Kenya, tell those Kenyan YouTubers, stop posting up these white people who trying to say they're giving flowers to black people to say, oh, we create and with this and with that. They're just playing a game. It's just a game. It's just a game. Okay? The thing they want to tell you, Brother Henry Clark and Brother Ben and all of these people, Bobby Hemmett, all of these people been telling with these things long time. Get pictures of your black brothers and put them up. Who been telling us these things long time ago. Don't listen to those people. Someone was also asking what is the subject when you hear. We're talking about the magic secret, okay, that the church don't want you to know, and how the dark magicians are the political and religious system and so on, okay. And the people who you have in high places and you put in and you put in on a pedestal and so on, these are actually dark magicians that are keeping you in ignorance. Okay? We in church right now, y'all. Okay, because this is where church really is, the real true church. Okay, there's no other church. Okay, and there's no God on the outside. Everything is within you. Sports name Lighthouse for ya. Okay, glad I found this channel. I know it's deeper than how church put things together. Yeah, church just put things together to control your mind. Okay, it's a game and it's a business. Okay, it's a business. Everything is a business. Okay, even what I'm doing here is a business. Okay, your time, your energy is a business. It's all the investment. You have to invest it wisely. So if you going to give your time, your energy, and so on to a man on the pulpit and so on, okay, and you see it not working for you, but you still continuing, you can't blame the preachers either. Okay, all of these mega preachers who have millions and millions of dollars of private jets and so on, you can't blame them. Because these people are followers of them and they would support them. Okay, so you can't vex with them. I'm not vexed with them. Okay? Everything's supposed to be a business. Your life itself is a business. You inhale and exhale. Inhalation and exhalation is a transaction. Don't let nobody fool you. That's why they don't want you to use the sexual energy for transaction. Okay? That's why I was showing you the whole mystery behind Moses. Okay, and showing you the backbone. And bring it right down to the penis basically. The phallus. That's the word I was looking to the phallus, because I want to show you the Bible has a lot of phallic in it, okay? Devil in the pulpit pimp. Yeah, they're pimps and they're bullies. Like you have the Geno Jennings and so on. Those are the bullies, the pulpit bullies and so on. You understand? They bully you, keep you under fear and guilt, okay? They're the real devil. So everything in the Bible you read, just reverse it back the other way. But they tell you not to do it. They say don't read palm, do that. They say don't use crystal, do that. They say don't use your imagination, do that. Just listen to the channel message, Lord. Okay? That's why they get paid millions, while doctors and nurses should be paid millions. Yeah. These preachers and so on, they need it. The dark magicians, okay, that run this world needs them. Okay? So when they tell you about the devil and his imps, it's them. You just have to understand it in a reverse way. Everything what they're telling you is actually what they are. It is them. So all I'm just doing is enlightening you to know that it is them. Okay? What is keeping the wall and the course and all of that is the church system. The religious system. Who you think the Pope is? All these people call themselves Christian and the popes and so on. And then the other religion is the same thing too. Those who are under the imams and so on is the same thing. Okay? So whether someone going to the Vatican or someone going to the, what you call it, the place where there's gather, all these Muslims and so on, gather and so on. Okay? Same thing. One say you could only have one wife and the other one say could have about four. It's the same thing. One just came to one extreme, one came to another extreme. But for me, if you have any common sense, I'm not supposed to do a video on that. Supposed to get as much money as you can afford. Yeah, these preachers know it's a business. Because I'm telling you, if you know what I know, and you decide to be a preacher, you'll become a mega preacher. So I know what these mega preachers know. But I can't live with that because I have a conscience. But I'm telling you, they're dark magicians, but I'm not going to judge them. Okay? Because they need the dark for show the light. I need the light to show the dark. Okay? And we're all of us using the same power. Okay? They're using it to control you. I'm using it to set you free. Now I'm telling you, you have to believe in yourself. I'm not telling you to believe in me. I'm not telling you to follow me. I'm telling you to follow your intuition. You see the difference? But one would be on a pulpit and he would be up on a stage and he's going to tell you how much he going to better your life if you give him your energy. Marking an X. Yeah. I would love the information, please, okay? Yeah, all these things that I normally speak about, you know, I'm going to go and even, you know, take my time even more and teach you these things right down in the Bible itself, okay? You can't expose the Bible without using the Bible itself to expose the Bible. That's what you have to do. So if you're ready to learn, you could become a part of my university. I'm going to do some teaching there and put some stuff there that I definitely don't want to put out otherwise. Someone said I do practice the breathing. Well, when you start to get my kind of breathing, you understand what I'm talking about. You see your whole body will be shaking and vibrating. Joe Dispenza and all these people use these kind of things too, but I go a little bit further, okay, to show you these things, what it's all about. Because they're using the scientific part, I stick with the more natural things. That's who we are. Okay, we're not hybrids. You have to understand that we are original. That's why we always work with nature. But don't make them shift you from that. Okay? You telling the truth, my brother. Thank you very much. Wow, a lot of people is using AI. Yeah. They're connecting you to AI. You become so dependent on this kind of AI knowledge and so on, then you start to get connected. Okay? Then after a while, you can't think for yourself. After a while, you can't think for yourself. Because the thing with AI will be making like your work seems to be more easier. And then when you get caught up, chasing and so on, you're so busy. Yeah, AI will seem like if it's making your work more easier and so on. And then they'll tell you, okay, AI going to help you to make millions and so on. What? Listen to the name, artificial. You have to be artificial to bring out something that is artificial. And if you check anything that's been coming from these kind of destructive dark magicians, it's something always kind of artificial to chop you in this realm, basically. Good morning, my brother. Keep up the big work. Thank you very much. And I like how you mentioned the big work, because this is a big work. Okay, it's more than me. Okay. That's why I need people like you all to support me. Okay. Yacent, Luton Fire is a lion. I love this accent you song like Luton Fire. I don't know who's Luton Fire. I don't know if he's a Jamaican, but where I'm living, we about 4 hours by plane from Jamaica. Okay, I live in an island called Simis and the Grenadines. But the real name is Haruna. Okay, the colonizers changed the name. I have a book, that I haven't published yet, where I write about the island. I could rewrite the whole history of this island and show you all the lies. I'll show you all the lies that the Europeans tell. As a matter of fact, this island used to have a supreme leader. Okay, still have a supreme leader, but just me people ain't gonna recognize the supreme leader. That's why in this country you have someone representing the palace in England there, Buckingham. Okay, they call him a Governor General. I know all the secret, bro. But I'm going into that right now. He said, yep, I told my family that's who they are. Oh, I man can be purified. Man must be conscious of impure feeling and surrender it to Most High. You always have the impure feeling and so on. It's just understanding balance. Okay, the more you start to accept your higher self and be more responsible and start to take accountability for your thoughts and your action and understand how the mind works and so on, it will start to help you to become more balanced. It start to open up your eyes to see the world from a different angle, and it start to connect you more to nature. And when you start to find time with yourself and so on, okay, and get involved in more conscious self-talk and so on, and realize that intellectual knowing is fake knowing. That's why the dark magicians have been so powerful in controlling the masses. They keep the masses and intellectual knowing. And no disrespect to my Rastafarian brothers, but a lot of them like to yap, and no action to prove anything. No action. And they always send off a kind of message by their lifestyle as if they identify poverty. When, if you go back to Ethiopia, and the name they're carrying, it came from an honorable title that was Ras. And Tafari was the name of the Ras who end up now and become emperor of the throne. Okay? So that's how they end up with the name and say Rastafari. But if you check out the whole history of the man wasn't as a poor man. He never reflect poverty. He was not an emperor of poverty. It was abundance and prosperity. And then the next thing too, I don't like people ever say to the Most High. Whenever you say Most High and Almighty, you're separating yourself. You're one. It's just one. God and man is the same. It's the one person. Greetings. Oba Alemi. Greetings to you, my brother. Israel Daniels, right? So when that person wants to say Israel, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Someone say the body hurts. Yeah, right now I've been sitting for a long time now. You know what I mean? It hurts, but the love I have sharing with you people is like I don't want to get up until I don't read all these comments. And I'm not going to get up. Salute with great knowledge. Thank you for acknowledging the knowledge. My encouragement to you is to put it to work. I peep the game of... Yeah. The game of Black Jesus. Yes, when they're remember, I jung them and we grab at a straw. When these people start to realize they're losing the power and the grip, and they realize, hey, oh, these people are going to wake up. You understand? These people are going to wake up. For example, they always tell about the Holocaust and tell you about Asterix, but they never tell you why they were killed, you know. Just like you have a sect of people in my country, right, who been carrying who've been carrying around the secret science of our ancestors unknowingly, because they've been carrying it around in a polluted farm, in that the plantation owners and so on persecute them when they had it in its originality, right? Because our forefathers and ancestors from way back, they always hide it in symbology. Okay, it's always hidden. Okay, so even these slave masters still couldn't fully understand. So the most they could do is interject their white Jesus program into it. And so the man who running this island right now, we go chase his ancestry way back to Europe. Just recently telling me, I give you all a holiday. Because you all were persecuted, and they start to rejoice. Oh, we be persecuted, and they were never called spiritual Baptists. The good thing is that the word spiritual stays in it. And they always used to say, since I was a boy growing up, we are the only true religion. This come from Africa. It was not a religion. It's a pure science that I know. and soon I put certain things in place to help people all over the world. So when Putin comes, it's a game. You understand with this Black Jesus thing, and they use a host of AI thing and a host of channel. Don't go give them your energy. They could get as much views as they want to get and get bigger. So it's bullshit. They're bullshitting you. It's to basically detract you from when enlightened ones like you come around. So you ain't going to see them in the present. Now, as I'm looking back, just like how they do with Jesus, the same thing. Okay, yeah, this is a very lonely walk. Peaceful. Angela, yeah. This walk will bring you to a place of peace, and you gotta be peaceful when you find yourself. Donald Robinson, yeah, it's a very lonely walk. It's a very lonely road. Yeah, the truth must be told. Okay, it doesn't matter what they do, the truth must be told. Okay. In Tune Deep Child, thank you very much for the 199. I thank you very much. Thank you, praying. Change my financial situation. Now, let me explain something about praying. Praying, okay? Most people fail to realize that praying is a science, okay? And true prayer is desire and meditation. But because it is a science that deals with your consciousness, if you use so much emotion and your belief, right? Because your belief system working on your whole nervous system, right? You can call him on a stone. That's why you could call on the white boy idol Jesus. You could do all of that. Go on your knees and cry out and all of that. And things could still happen. But it happen to you in a limited way. And so if you never understand the science, okay, you might be able to have a decent living. Like for example, okay, there's a person might have just a decent living, making at least about $100,000 a year. But there'll be a man now who's making $100,000 an hour. I make $100,000 a day. You see the difference? For example, some of the families who got secret from lip to ears down here in my country, you understand? What a person cannot make in a year in my country, they just make that in a day. And sometimes less than a day. So you see what I'm talking about? Okay? That's why these people go to church and so on, they get a little pittance here and there and they think it's some Jesus. No. Answering them, no, it's science, but they don't understand it's a science happening all the time. Oh yeah, the robots are gonna go crazy. Yeah. These robots are weapons. They're weapons. They come in peace. They come as if they're coming in peace and they're gonna improve your life. They're weapons. These Bro, I am telling you, these motherfucking robots are weapons. Yes, they show the plan to the movies, the subliminal messages to the movies. Movies is not for entertainment. If you still watch a movie for entertainment, man, you still in a coma. You're still not ready to wake up out the matrix. Movies is not for entertainment. As I said already, I do a video already about what is black people weakness, entertainment, and white people weakness is their pride. You must check out back those videos. They give you entertainment, it's distraction. Our people love to be entertained. Nothing wrong with being love to entertain, you know. We love drama, we love all of that and so on. Yeah, that's why they have these reality TV and shows and so on. They use all of these things. They kind of slow down. It's like, for example, let me use an example. Imagine you run against Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt will tell you take a length. Because he knows he's so fast he could pass you back. So these people know, even if they're oppressed for a long time, anytime we wake up, they realize, boy, these people could chance and so freaking fast, or they're so close to the sun. They know. Okay? Yeah, you gotta start with self-love. Self-love is it. Don't make no one fool you. You can't have self-love and belong to no religion. Don't make nobody fool you. It is impossible for you to have self-love and belong to some religion. That's why the man tell the African man told Sarnet at the time, in the short video they see. He believed more in Jesus than in himself. And he was correct. Because that's how they want to have you. His nervous system is still resetting. Yeah. I mean, it takes a long time for you to really reprogram, you know, your subconscious mind. For example, even me, every day of my life, I just keep reprogramming all the time. It's an ongoing thing. Because it goes deep. Imagine when you're a little child and they impress your subconscious with certain beliefs. It's not something easy to deal with. It's not something easy to deal with. That's why I normally tell people, do not argue with Christians. Take exactly what they say and make more sense of it for them. Don't chant the Bible. Take it and make sense of it, better sense of it for them. What do you think I'm doing? When I show you the magic secret and show you with Moses and your backbone and this and that and what it's all about, show you where the real magic rod is, you're going to part the sea and so on, and bring it right down to your phallus and everything and all of that, and show you when your mother get struck by the rod, the Red Sea to stop and she gets your period, and you just be surrounded by water in a basket in your womb. Most of the body is water and so on, and when you come out, it's an exodus. And then when you have to face your circumstances and the thoughts you go back to so ever often that rule over you, that is your Pharaoh, and he could enslave you, he could free you. And in order to come over to freedom and liberation and enjoy Canaan land, you have to make the harlot Rahab, and I did a video concerning the prostitution secret. They don't want you to know and sure what Rahab represent. The part of you that will give you anything that you desire. Man, when you go to a whole house, whatever you desire, once you are able to pay the price, they won't get it. You want to flash your we call blowjob or whatever, you're going to get that. Anything, I don't want to go to even the graphics. You understand? You get anything. Waiting all these billionaires and this and that, and Epstein Island and Trump and this and that. They want to get anything they want, but they want to take it so literal and carry it. That what dark magician is doing now. They carry it to real extreme. But all of we using the same power. So I be telling you the truth and I don't like to tell. Speaking truth, of course, truth. Must understand. Love is honesty, of course. Love is honesty, 100%. But I think I'm being so honest with you. Bless up, brethren. Rich Fox. Blessing to you too. Thank you, big brother. Thank you too, John and Palmer. Thank you very much. Thank you, every one of you. Okay, I want to thank every one of you, but I want to read all of this comment. Fascinating. It happens to white people as well. Do in my experience. What happened to them? I don't know. You understand? Hey. Call in a God that is as woke as you are. Thank you for the truth, divine protection. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like that. I like when people tell me like divine protection. No come talk about protect that man by all costs. No, divine protection. I always believe The man who appeared to me from the burning bush that doesn't consume. Okay. And the man who appeared to be one time too touched me right here. Okay. And I was seeing his face and so on, and thought I was awake. When I said to myself, "What this man doing in my house? I live alone." Okay, and then that's when I come back to consciousness. I always believe I have divine protection. I have nothing to worry about. Why should I worry? Some people worry over death so much and hell and these kind of foolishness that these dark magicians use on them. And they fail to realize that death is inevitable. No one leaves here alive. You have to be an idiot to think you're going to live your life and think one day you're going to just go out. Whenever the time they show you any picture with the idol Jesus, and they show you like he going up and he going up in the cloud, man, is astral projection. They don't want you to understand it. I think I have a write down, I think, to a video on that. There's a light in your forehead that could teach you, but you could come out of your body. Don't make nobody fool you, but just me, I don't want to. Sometimes I don't want to teach people certain things, because if you still have fear and all of these things inside and you find yourself outside, this is real. It's real fight. You will fight for get back in, because you love here so much. You love this friend so fucking much. You fight and hurt yourself and all kind of thing. Okay? But if you could relax yourself and so you could come back here, that's what I tell you. You could be look, one time I was in a gym, and in the gym, I went into the house, lie down on the bed in the gym, and fall asleep in the gym. I had a dream. In the gym, then wake up back. In the gym, to wake up back again here. That time already I was so conscious in the gym all right, that I wanted to wake up myself. But sometimes I find myself out in like a wilderness, like I wouldn't want to wake myself there. Yeah, you could be conscious in your gym in so much you could actually say, yo, this one is a dream. And sometimes it could be a little bit frightening. Like, for example, one time I see someone fall from a high cliff. You understand? And because of that and thing, I say, you know, this is a dream, I'm going to wake myself up. They just wake myself out. You understand? So, you know, don't make these preachers fool you, bro. They all the time want to keep you choppy. This ain't you. When you cremate somebody's body, they could become just like just a handful of dust. This is not you. Do ever identify yourself with this? Dark magicians making you identify yourself with this. That's why they give church and religion and all of these things. And all political parties and churches, they're cults. And then they tell you something as it's cult. And they're telling you, don't get in touch with the occult. They don't want you to know that which is hidden. That's what occult really means. Busy chat. Okay. I don't know why this PC chat and BMG. I know the BMG BlackMadGuru for sure. Okay. As a matter of fact, while I'm here, if anyone know have any conscious, you know, real conscious creator who they on the same path, you know, and even look like me and so on, and you know, there could be a good collab. That'll be good. Okay. So we definitely gotta work together. You know what I mean? Yes, I might have my team, you know, but if I could get more people to work along with me, that's how we could get the work done. I'm a conscious magician. Yes, we are all magicians, but we have to become conscious magician. Okay, Jordan Palmer, nice having you. Thank you. Respect also to you, my brother. I've been feeling the presence within me more and more lately. Well, I want to believe that you're having a awakening experience whereby you're becoming more aware. Okay, that's what I really mean, more aware. Okay, because enlightenment and awareness is two different things. Because sometimes you see people, you know, mixing up awareness with enlightenment. Enlightenment is a far different thing. Because I'll be honest with you, 100% honest. There is no way you as a melatonated person could become enlightened and you don't see the darkness of the people who enslave you and still have you in your people in enslavement. There's no way. Nobody could convince me with that. There's no way you could become enlightened and you want to mix your seed and marry outside your race. I don't care how popular you be. I don't care how popular you be on YouTube. I don't care how much views you have. I don't care thing that and so on. No. Because only when I became enlightened, I started to see the ills of colonization. I started to see the ills in my society. I started to see all the chaps. I started to see all the things that I could see now. So I have to be honest. I watch your video about our energy being our currency, perfect 100%. Yeah, you see, money was first a thought, it's first an idea, first imagine. Everything in this world, materialistically, that you're thinking about is first a thought, first an idea, which means if sex bring you here, then sexual power have to be the most powerful, potent energy there. Don't make nobody fool you. Why you think you charge so much against sex magic? Oh, sex magic, and they use the word magic and miracles to trick you. That's why we're really dealing with this whole thing. Okay, magic and miracles the same thing. So why do you believe in a miracle, man, but don't believe in your magical self? It's a trick. Oh, magic is not different. And then the people naming videos and saying it is not magic, it is law. Shut the fuck up. You know you're going to trick. It's a lot of real dark, it's a lot of dark things happening on the internet, you know, brother. You have to be so careful with these people who say they're content creators and so on. But it's not magic. We mean it's not magic. What is the difference? What is the difference to roundabout talking about the secret and so on? And law of attraction and so on. What is the difference? We think about Proctor and all of them talking about. Yet they want to build school in Africa to continue to institutionalize the people them. As if the people are so uncivilized. And what they need is education. Yes, they need education, but not academic education. They need to be educated to understand and to know who they are and the power that they possess. That's the real education they need. They don't need charity and missionaries. They don't need that. Using my imagination, I get an excited feeling in my heart, chest area. Okay? Well, when I do use my imagination, it's not about the heart. Okay? It's about the seat of consciousness. I go straight to the solar plexus. Okay? I'm a sun man. Okay? That, I mean to say Joe Dispenza doing a great work and thing. They could talk about heart and brain cohesion and all of that. No problem with that. They're doing their work. Okay? I activating the solar plexus. And when the heart, let me show you something, eh? When the heart stop and so on, and the people in the ambulance and so on, we call them paramedics, however, and they take these two things and they rub them together. I don't remember the name of it, but you know what I'm talking about. They rub them together to create the electricity. And what they do, they shock back the heart, they shock you back, and then the person, that's how they come back to consciousness. We think that is, man, they say the solar plexus is doing, man. When you start to activate your solar plexus, man, sun people. When sun people wake up, we're burning down this whole planet. Ooh, skin cancer like joke. And then we're gonna create the medical for help you out. Cause all they going on, we play and poison with people, do all kind of thing, create thing in lab, AIDS, all kind of thing, high preachers talking about, oh God judging homosexuals, Ebola, all of these things. I tell you, they're gonna pay for it. They're gonna pay for everything. I can't see how Batty Boy no love Nani. You see, this is the problem with people who normally judge Batty Boy are homosexuals. They lack the understanding, they lack polarity. Let me run it again. And these are the kind of men, when they get Nani, they end up and they bring a Batty Boy in the world because they get themselves so caught up with trying to burn out homosexuals and trying to tell other people how to live their own life, that they put that in them as a download because they create a hatred towards people based on their lifestyle that they choose, okay, to reflect polarity, the difference, okay. But he gonna tell you he's straight and he love Nani. So how you gonna use a straight man if there isn't a man who's not straight? So whoever you are, whether you come from Jamaica, wherever you come from, get rid of your ignorance. Jamaica have a lot of ignorant men. That is why, if they ain't be careful, Jamaica will be full of homosexuals. That's why a lot of these men who sing dance music and sing against the thing, they end up and they produce the same kind of children. So it's where you put in your mind. All I doing is showing that you have dark magician and you have magician of light, and we're all magician. Okay? Because what you would want to feel if you're a straight man, why you want to see, because when you say I can't see how, you want to know how. I know you want to know how. Why you would want to know how? But if that is not part of your imagination, you don't even want to think about that. Love to you too, Tina. In tune deep tarot. Tarot reading is considered pagan, but I don't listen to EOLE. I don't know basically what is that. Okay. People who read in tarot and so on, it's just people being more intuitive and they're using the intuition and so on. You know, anything at all that will help you to depend on yourself and to be more intuitive, more creative, and to get more in touch with the divine self. The church demonize it. Okay. I'm at laundromat playing this on speakerphone. Okay. I'm getting the evil eye everywhere. People look at you strange and all that. You see, sometimes you have to watch your environment and understand too. Okay, they will look at you all the way and so on. Okay, but there's a book named The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I have the book in my library. Okay, yeah, you have to live it. When you realize how much society bring brainwash, you have to live your life, not giving a F. You understand the subtle art and not giving a fuck. Okay. Okay. I'll go read other praise to the Most High source. I don't like to use up the word the Most High, and it to me, okay, it giving a sense of separation. That's just it for me. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay, so I don't use things like the Most High and the Almighty. I don't do that. A bunch of Rastafarians does use them terminology. Okay, that signifying separation to me. Okay. There's no separation with source. Okay, I'm 100% source. Just having a human experience. Okay, this is just a little cube or box I live in, man. Made from dust, dirt. I'm cooking and vibing to this truth. Thank you very much. Okay, I know that cooking go be eating real good because I cooking with love. Okay. Kingstar Production, greetings to you too. Vampire bankers, teachers, doctors, music, big singers. The vampire all over. Okay, some of these people that you mentioned and so on, they're just the front people basically, but the real vampires in the background, the dark government that you don't see, the dark magicians and so on. Okay, these are the kind of people I'm talking about basically, because these people are under them. Okay. These mega preachers and so on, they may just figureheads too, okay? Someone made okay. Stacy, I am the free, no longer a Christian, will never go back to being brainwashed. Great, definitely great to hear that, okay? But let me say this. Even till you leave the church and you don't go back to church, trust me, after that, boy, there's a lot of cleansing you still have to do, boy. A lot. Because, you know, even trying to go and trying to convince people and trying to tell people when you become more spiritual and all of that is an effect of Christianity. Making you think that you're responsible for change other people and to get people on the right path and so on. But you have to take this thing and walk it in your own life. And let people see your light for themselves. Okay? Barker, thank you also for tuning in. Okay? Trevor Biles, thanks for this pointing my... I want to believe it, brother. I totally understand. Okay. Thank you also for tuning in. Brian, thank you for tuning in. Stacy, thank you for this subscription. I really appreciate it. Okay, I wish more people would subscribe, you know, and share the videos and like the videos, share them on all different platforms. okay, as much as possible, get this thing into the algorithm more, because, you know, my greatest joy and pleasure is to really, really touch people's lives and help them. Okay, that is my main concern, for people eyes to open. Okay, so we can win together. Today I woke up feeling justified for all the hate I've endured. You know, many times people see things in you already and they will hate you. There's so much people who hate me because I am so straightforward and I don't hold back. Okay, so you'll always find that people hate you for nothing, but they're actually seeing something. Okay, and they hate you. Tanisha, thank you for being here and spreading the light. Thank you also for being a part of this light. One love, brother. Roger Frank, thank you, my brother. One love to you too. One love, Ninja Man. Okay, one love. There used to be a Ninja Man from Jamaica who's a singer. You know, we have a lot of children. Ton load of children. Yeah, man. Big up to Ninja Man. Okay. They tell you you are in poverty because they want you to buy their stuff. Everyone in this world born rich. Okay. You see, poverty is a disease of the mind. And they set up this system for you to contract this disease. It is like a venereal disease. It could pass on. So your parents just pass it on through epigenetics and through the school system. They pass it down to you through the school system. They make you believe that wall is a dog wall and it's a competitive wall. And if you ain't do good in school, but if that was the truth, teachers would have been multi-millionaires. But they're not. Okay. Greetings to you, Elbert. Greetings to you also from Detroit, Michigan. Okay, greetings to you, Bliss Empire. Dollar Bliss, okay. Yeah. Thank you for the connection. You are welcome, my brother, Elbert. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Mr. James. I'm glad you enjoy this session, and all the best to you and your family. Okay. Love, confession, gratitude. You see, gratitude is a self-pleasuring of yourself, but those who will tell you to, you know, the power of gratitude and so on, they're not going to come out to tell you it's a self-pleasuring of yourself, because I'm telling you, they're going to hide the fact to you that this thing is basically all the way back to your sexual energy. You know, all of these religions are to control your sexuality. That's the main thing. We are one with the most, you see, most high souls, which is our higher self. Okay. We are created from a mother and a father. Okay. But the dark magicians tell you that a woman came from a man in Genesis. Says I live my life on this planet. Every man I see and know, they came out from the womb of a woman. So woman have to be here before man. Woman was here before man. And, you know, all praises goes to the black woman. Okay, I believe the oldest being on this planet is a black woman. Okay, so who don't want to agree that that's their business? Okay, that is why I'm not gonna leave the black woman for no other woman. None, never happened. As a matter of fact, for the longest while, I was supposed to do a video called "Diary of a Wise Black Woman." Okay, and walk all over Tyler Perry with the bullshit and the Hollywood agenda, but fucking mad black woman. Portraying black woman in a bad way all the time. Okay. Good morning from Toronto, Canada. Nice having you, Tina Amos from Canada. Canada is in the house. Okay, we want to reach people all over the world. Once you are of the same mind, you must find this work. Self-love 100%. Okay, Stacy. Mother Earth and Father Universe, which equal nature, water, dirt, grass, trees, etc., etc. Yeah. 100% truth. Okay? And we are connected to all of that. It is better to cremate or bury yourself. I would rather be cremated. I'm not gonna give this establishment no freaking money. Marriage and funerals are the two biggest scams. The church keep benefiting off of the debts. Since the big pandemic, the most people I've ever seen die in my country, since I know myself in this country. After the within the pandemic and after the pandemic, man, people dying like crazy in my country. People dropping like flies in my country. I'm telling the truth. And the church, they are always going to church. You have graduation in church. They have funerals, church, and so on. That's how they make their money. The preacher will talk no shit over my body. I already leave that. The preacher talk over my body. Okay? To get a piece of land, you have to pay. You have to buy a piece of land from the dark magician to bury your body. You cremate. You can sprinkle it wherever you want to. Okay, go look up Tony Sinora, good vibes, homeopathic healing, conscious brother from Texas. Okay. When I go home, I would have to definitely try to remember this name out of my head, because right now my girl got up in the vehicle to relax. I believe right now she feeling a little bit hungry too. Okay, and she gone up by the vehicle to relax. I would wish she write it down for me. So right now I'm just basically here alone because I want to answer all the comments and leave. Okay, Tony Sinora. Okay, yeah, I'll try to remember this name. Someone say preach. This is more than preach. This is teach. I am teaching. Preachers normally sweat down the place and with a lot of perspiration and no real inspiration and no action to go with it except they have in the bag. Okay, that's it. Education of self is power, yeah. There's a man who wrote a book in 1933 called The Miseducation of the Negro. I'm trying to remember his name. Okay, but I can't remember his name right now. I think it's Woodson. I think it's Charles C. Woods or something like that. Okay. But he wrote a book called The Miseducation of the Negro. And up to this day, the miseducation is still going on. Nama Shivaya. I guess this person is an Indian person. Okay, so like the Indian, they have their Shiva and so on. And you know, the religious Christian people believe that these people are pagans. When these people, their Shiva and so on is in their own image and their likeness. It doesn't matter how much gods that the Indians have, it's still in their image and their likeness. But melanated people, they have a god that look like a white man. The only people that have a god that doesn't look like themselves. But you're supposed to believe in a higher self. I see where you're coming from. Okay. Well, once you're open-minded, you see where I'm coming from. Jermaine Brown, righteous. Nice having you. Much respect, Guru. Respect to you too, Didi. Then it's John. If polarity is the nature of this 3D realm, why will the time end for dark magicians? Will they not always be here? I said that. I said they would always be here. We are just making it less of them because there's so much and they control the masses. Okay? And if you've been listening to me, you always hear me speak about balance. It's all about balance. Okay? I'm not, as I said, and I said earlier in the video, I didn't come to change anything. I come to fulfill. Okay, we come back here to teach. We come back here to fulfill, not to change. You'll always be here. Someone asked me if I'm Rastafarian. People normally call me Ras, I will answer. If you call me Muslim, I will answer. Anything you call, I will answer. Because I'm all of them. Okay? Because remember, as I tell you, there's always a deeper level to all of these things. Always a deeper level. Okay? So I don't stick to my identity is the identity of all. I have no false identity. So if you see me as a Rastafarian, you say Ras, I answer you. Because it's an honorable title. Okay? You look like Chris Gayle. Okay, Chris Gayle, the cricketer from Jamaica. Okay. Alexander McCourt. Thank you for tuning in. Brother, I hope you're good. Yes, man, I'm good. You know, once I'm doing this work, I'm good. I would always be good. Okay. Thanks for asking though. Yes, I am exactly do that cleansing, getting rid of those demons. And your demons are just your negative thoughts. Okay. I attracted being a Christian. Yeah. Christianity is based on negativity. Yeah, demons are just negative thoughts. Let me explain it a little more simple for you. Okay, they tell you a demon is a fallen angel, right? And why is an angel? An angel is a messenger and what bring message to you and from you. It is the thoughts that bring message to you and from you. So when you have a negative fallen thought, that's a demon. And when you keep going back to it and so on and it become a king, a ruler over your life like a pharaoh, like what I was talking about, because you're going back there every time. That's where you live psychologically. It rules over you. It become a king over you. So you read in the Bible about king this and king that and that, and you think you're talking about some people who exist thousands of years ago. No, taking personification for persons, and most people taking allegory for history. So that is real demons. Okay, yeah. When you come out of Christianity, you have to get rid of demons. I have been hated for a long time now. You know, I understand. Yeah, when you leave Christianity, you live in a bunch of demons. It's a demonic place, you know. It's a nasty, dirty, stinking place, you know. The church system. When your eyes open to see the church system and how stink it is, you know, you realize on a Saturday and Sunday, real shit houses these people going to, you know. Trying to be moral, you know. People are taking accountability that they're both rich. I'm not rich. They're both evil and good, you know. They want to be good. So they just want they don't want a night. Real delusional, ignorant people, stupid. Christianity and our religion have you living a life that is impossible. That's why you have to be delusional. You have to be two-tongued to be a Christian. You have to be a total hypocrite, a liar. You have to be all of that to be a Christian. Because you have to be lying to yourself. You're battling every day with fucking negative thoughts. And then you want to tell people how to live their life. When you're going through the same battle and struggles like them. Mental, every one of us. The battle is in your mind. Totally reverse. Yeah, you have to reverse every freaking thing. Women created children, of course. They're the progenitor, man. And as a matter of fact, at the richest place on earth, I did a video on that too. It's the woman vagina. The richest man come from there. The wisest man, everything come from there. And they tell you about the richest places at this and that and America and all of this kind of place. Middle East and this and that. No, the woman. Okay? I'm with white woman. Should I continue taking care of her? Well, you have to know why you find yourself with a white woman in the first place. Maybe it was a childhood fantasy of yours and so on. But you know better. You have to decide whether you're going to move on or if you're not going to move on. Okay, because sometimes you have wild fantasy. Okay, I'm not gonna judge you a thing because you with a white woman, my brother. I'm not gonna do that. But if you know better, okay. But there was a time when we didn't know better. You understand? I mean, I have some pictures. I don't know if they're still around or what. With me and a white woman on a beach together. Some picture. I went Barbados a time for a bodybuilding show. And you would have sworn that we was having sex on the beach. The bottom gate. Okay, well, watch me. Just tell my girl to drive the car and I will come down by the bottom gate. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah, as I was saying, yeah, and at that time I didn't really know better, okay? You understand? So, sometimes we have childhood fantasy and so on, and everybody normally have those kind of fantasy. Sometimes, you know, that time in my life I used to wish, like, you know, what is like, I used to think about what it's like to go with a Chinese woman, a Japanese woman, a white woman, an Indian woman, but every type of woman, okay? And you have all different variety of women. You have short, you have tall, you have fat, you have all kind of women, okay? So, but you have to know, okay? Okay, brother, teach. Okay, can you rap? I'm a poet, you know. First set of books I started to write was poems, but I was more writing it when I was more involved in the church system and so on. So I never really published them and so on. So I think if you can write a poem, you know what I mean, and you could recite your poem, you could sound like a rap if you put music to it. Okay. Glow man, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, everything is 100%, man. Man, I love you. I love you too. Yeah, and read my brother. Do you have any more breathing techniques to connect more with your inner self? I have plenty, but as I said, I don't want to go into too much of thing here right now with them, right? But when I start to post up some videos about breathing technique, you get a better understanding why I put them in a separate area on my university. I have some of the most powerful I have the most powerful and ancient breathing technique you think about, to be honest with you. Things will be so simple, but the most powerful things on this earth are the most simple things, but people just miss it. Simplicity. I'll show you, man. To increase your imagination. Okay. A lot of these breathing techniques and so on that I have would definitely help you to improve your imagination. Okay. King of Power Music Group. This the release I ever heard. No, this the realest I've ever heard battle with Christianity my whole life. Father was a pastor. The toughest battle to let go. Yeah, thank you for this, brother. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, it's a tough battle to look. As much as I am more enlightened and have all kind of mystical experiences, I'm telling you, that's how I know how dark and how the Christianity is, boy. I telling you, it's not an easy thing. It's a whole life you have to just keep regenerating yourself from it. It's real deep. I'm telling you. Look, bro, the brainwash, well, especially when you're born like in the Caribbean like me, and you go to school, I'm telling you, for all of your the better part of your life, because when you're in your young age, okay, from a little child and then you become a teenager and so on. When you're young, you're vibrant, you have your high sex drive, you have all of this thing going for you and everything. You understand that where you're more indoctrinated the most. So it's not an easy thing to deal with. I really, really appreciate you being so honest and so transparent, man. You're being real. You're being real, man. You're being real. Really, man. So sometimes people leave church, but the church not leave them still. The system, yeah. Had a little disruption there. Okay. I'm gonna finish up and leave just now, okay? Someone, yeah, instead of taking accountability in their own life, okay? My girl kind of disrupted me calling me, but you know, I finishing up everything, okay? I make sure tell she walk with things to eat, you know, we had watermelon, this, that, water. I just want to read off these comments. Accountability in your own life, okay? I got you. Thanks again, Guru. Thank you. So what about the melting pot? I've seen people worshiping their pastor as a child, especially women. Yes, they do. Okay. And let me say, King of Power Music Group, USVI, US Virgin Island, thank you for tuning in. And Terry Mill, Bolivar, thank you for tuning in also. Okay. I definitely gonna come to a close here, and I really want to thank all of you for tuning in. And I want to also thank you in advance for your continued support, and I will encourage you to continue to support this work in any way that you can. And we really want to get up to that 100,000 and move on and get this message, you know, to be a universal message, because I know I have something very powerful to offer to the world, and I want you to be a part of it. So with that being said, my brother and my sisters, I'll definitely see you in another live. Peace. Love you all. I'm out.